So hello everyone, it's been a while since I have posted on this channel, but if this is the first time you have seen me, my name is Kirsty Jenkins. The channel's called Kirsty J, as that's what a lot of my family call me, especially my dad. And yeah, I've got some exciting news. I've actually moved to Japan, so this is my new home now. As you can see, my flat's very empty, but I'm going to get some furniture soon, and when I do that I'll do a flat tour, but until then we have an empty space. But yeah, I've been in Japan for 1 month now and I am really enjoying it. It's definitely kind of the biggest change, probably the biggest life change I've ever made in my life, but it is definitely much needed, as I think with COVID hitting and then the world shutting down for 2 years and people being stuck at home, I felt very kind of trapped and isolated. And I was also in a very privileged position as I was able to still work during COVID, which is a pro and a con. Like I'm always going to be very grateful because I still had a steady income, but then there's always that part of me that was a little bit envious of the people who were on furlough and they can kind of do what they want while still getting paid. But I think a lot of people are always going to be like that, it's just how it is. But I guess my kind of negative for the working was the job I was working. I was working in the NHS, which, if you do not know what that is, that's the England's healthcare system. So it was a good job. It started off well, but it really kind of tanked the last year. I definitely want to make kind of a video on its own about my kind of whole experience working in the NHS, especially just before I left, as I can kind of see why a lot of people are leaving, because it is just getting really bad and toxic. Like, I'll just kind of give you a quick tidbit. So there was about 7 in my team just before I left, and 4 people, including me, kind of left when I left, so I lost half of the team. They didn't even replace them, they didn't even replace my role. And one of the biggest reasons for this is when I was coming in every day, there was a lot of crying. Like, I was crying, I saw my team cry, even the 2 higher managers than me who they've left now, but they were crying all the time. Like, it was basically crying every day, where as a job you shouldn't be going into work and crying every day. So this, for me, I've always enjoyed Japanese culture. I've always enjoyed it from a young age. My grandfather has a huge bonsai collection, so it's kind of been cool seeing that. I think obviously for a lot of people, anime, Pokemon, that kind of whole Japanese kind of media influence has always been a big thing. But I've always just kind of like the spiritualism as well. I really like the Shintoism. And there's just kind of so much more. So I kind of thought, when you're in your 20s, you're meant to do kind of something crazy and like different, kind of go out in the world. And for me, I thought, let's give Japan a go, see how it is living out here. Do I know any Japanese? I know a little bit, I'm not very good. I think my Japanese, I'm better for listening than speaking, because every time they ask me a question, I'm just like, I don't know what to say, and then give me 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I should have said that. So a lot of Google Translate is being my friend at the moment, but I'm hoping with living out here, it's going to help a lot more. The nice thing is, so the job I'm doing, it's quite a common job a lot of people do. They come to Japan, I'm teaching English, and I tell you what, I've just finished my first week teaching English, and it has been a really nice week. It's just such a nice kind of culture or work shift, especially from the last job I was being, where there's crying, there's tears. It's nice that everyone's happy and joyful, and the kids are so cute. Some of them are really cute. They definitely melt my heart for some of the things they say. They are just so cute. And yeah, it's just, for me, it's kind of, I think especially the last 6 months of living in England, it was kind of, it was questioning what is everything, what is the point of living, where the month I've been to Japan, I've had such more of kind of the living life experience. I've done so much in this last month than what I've honestly done in the last 2 years of being in England. Definitely done way too much drinking and karaoke, but it's just kind of nice to have that sense of like, this is what life should be. And even for Japan, like, I think I have seen like a lot of like Westerners moving to Japan at the moment, like especially like a lot of YouTubers. The YouTubers seem to be moving here like anything, but I can see why. You know, I think one of the nice things that I've noticed with Japan, like especially in England, the inflation is through the roof at the moment, where in Japan, you know, there's not really any inflation. I saw a video that in the last 20 years, everything, the price wise, has stayed the same. Like if you want like a simple rice ball in one of the konbinis, it is 100 yen, and that was in 2001. And if you go today, and I have seen it, they are still 100 yen. So, you know, in 20 years, they haven't increased their prices. So the kind of like life, the standard life of living, you can kind of live a good life where you're not on amazing money, because obviously a typical thing if you do teach English, like, don't get me wrong, it's not bad money, it is a livable wage, and I'm living pretty comfortable at the moment. But obviously it's not one of the ones where it's like you need to kind of like work hard, you need to make the big bucks. You know, it's a fine standard of living, and that's kind of what I'm just liking at the moment. It's nice that you can kind of go out. You know, I can go out to karaoke or have a couple of drinks with my friends here, where at home I always felt like bad doing that, because like it was very much, you know, you have to save your money. So it's just nice you can kind of do stuff out here and not feel too bad for spending your money, because you still have like money for your rent and stuff. And even for rent here, it's really cheap. I'm also very lucky because the Board of Education I'm working with, they are subsidising a part of my flat. I think I have to look at my contract again, but I think without the subsidies, it should have been about 57,000 yen. I think I'm paying about 29,000 yen a month, but I will double check it. If it's wrong, I will correct it here. But which in UK money, so if they weren't subsidising, it would be about £300 a month, but with them subsidising it, I'm paying about 120 to 140 pounds a month, depending what the current exchange rate is. But you know, it's a 1-bedroom studio apartment, and if you were in England, you'd never find a place for £120 a month and it to be a nice flat. You know, if you tried to pay that, you'd get like a shoebox. It wouldn't even be a shoebox, it would just be like a hole in the ground. You know, because rent in England at the moment, it's depending where you are, it's varying between easily £1,000 to £2,000 a month, which is insane. You know, that's practically someone's whole wage. So the standard of living here is a lot nicer. So that's one thing I'm really liking, and I just feel like I'm living again is my big thing for being out here. But yeah, I went into a little bit of a ramble, but I think it's important to share these guys with you, because I feel like if any of you guys are feeling like, you know, what is living, if it's just kind of work, bed again, you know, I think it's really important to make those big life changes, to try and change it, especially for kind of your mental health and like viewpoint as well. So if you're kind of feeling like that, you know, stick along with the journey, because I definitely want to show you what it's like living in Japan. And also, if you have any interest of coming to Japan either for a holiday or even potentially working out here, I'm gonna kind of show you guys what it's like, because I especially want to give you guys like more of an honest, realistic point of view in Japan. And also, if you're interested in not living in Tokyo, since a lot of people who do film and vlog out here, it's like Tokyo, where Tokyo is really nice, but you know, there's more to Japan than just Tokyo. And for me, when I got my placement, if I got Tokyo, that would have been really cool. I know it would have been really expensive and I'd have no money, but I really wanted the kind of non-Tokyo experience of Japan. So the placement I got, I'm in Ahhhhh of Japan. So here's like a map of Japan up here. So you have the little kind of island part that is still part of big Japan, and then Ahhhhh is like around sort of here-ish. But yeah, it's kind of classed as the countryside of Japan, but I'm really liking it so far. This is the kind of true Japan experience of living I wanted to see, just kind of the daily life, then the kind of big city. I'm also quite lucky because I'm in the countryside, but I'm in one of more of the built up kind of cities here. So I'm not in the middle of nowhere, so I do feel very blessed. I'm in a place where there is still some things to do and things are walking distance. Some things would be nice if I had a car, and I do have a car for when I drive to work, but I'm only allowed to use company cars for work. But walking distance, and if you've got a bike, I do have a bike as well, so I'm finding there's enough things to do where I'm living, so I'm definitely enjoying the new place I'm living in, ahhhhh. And I'll definitely show you guys as the year goes on, or however long I stay here, because I think it's going to be a fun year and a fun ride, so I definitely want to take you guys along. And yeah, I feel really happy with the changes I've made. I think the biggest thing I'm definitely going to miss at home is we got a new dog last year. I'll put his name is Charlie. He is a cockapoo, and he's definitely really cute and sweet. And I think out of like, I've not been too bad for homesickness so far. I think the biggest homesickness I've had is I'm really missing Charlie. That's my biggest thing. I think if I ever do come home early, it will be because of wanting to see Charlie again. So that's my biggest thing at the moment. But overall, I've definitely made the right move in life, so I'm looking forward to where the year comes, and hopefully you'll stay with me. So I'll see you in the next Japan related video. Have a good one, hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye!